Good day, everyone, and welcome again to One Global Movement. I am really so happy and excited, and I know that there will be another tomorrow. We're always going to meet here until the end of times because the issues concerning children, women, and young people, it's something that has to be done all the time, every day, every minute. But when we choose 2 days a week to meet here and do things together, we take it very seriously, very importantly, and it is as a matter of urgency because the challenges facing this population in the world calls for an emergency for all of us, all hands, all heads, all minds, all hearts on deck. And that's what we are doing here in One Global Movement. We cannot take it lightly when a child is crying of hunger, when a young person does not have the tools to build, to create. We don't take that lightly. And thank God that I have my beautiful sisters here and those that are working in the background. They love it. We all love this from the bottom of our heart, and we're doing it. And when we continue to do this, there has to be a breakthrough because God sees, reads our hearts and what we do. So thank you guys so much. And I'm happy. I just picked up my mom from the airport and I dropped her, and I'm in the car doing the show. Thank God for technology. You can do it anywhere in the world. Another time I had to do it in the bush. When I went to the chicken farm, I did it in the bush. And so I love it. So, so yes. And thank you guys. Thanks to the audience. Let us continue to build this and to also spread the gospel, the mission of One Global Movement to the world. Let's not keep it to ourselves. To keep it to ourselves means we are not doing what we are supposed to be doing because we need to reach every corner of the globe, regardless of if we have to take a boat to go there or if we have to ride a bike. That is all we want. So it can only be done through us, through you and I, spreading this to the world, posting the things, liking it, sharing, and really helping our children from our home to anchor themselves onto what we are doing here in One Global Movement. So I love this and I thank you guys so much because thank you is the biggest thing that you're ever going to get from me. All right. So thank you. And I love you guys. So Wednesday, October 22nd. I can't believe that my birthday is around the corner. Huh. So, One Global Movement Revolution Part 379, the language of justice. The language of justice. Giving the next generation the words to speak up. And when we say giving, those words came from the Creator, not from us. But we have to also help in giving them because we've been called to serve these young people, to guide and lead them, to make sure that we help them to bring out the spark in them. Otherwise, it will lay dormant in them. And so, the language of justice. Begin to think, what is this language? I would really like us to comment it. Even if you're commenting in your language, that's good. There will be somebody that will read in your language. Let us talk about One Global Movement here. Let us talk about One Global Movement, not about Victory with Ash, not about One Global Movement is a separate organization on its own. I know that our CEO helped to bring this family together, but more than half of the population here are people from outside unpassive, if I may call that for now. There are people from outside. So let us not bring Ash here. Write about One Global Movement. Write about how you're raising your children. Write about what is happening in your community concerning this population. Write about the Gen Zs. Write about those things. Let's not put Victory with Ash here at all. Please, because you will be helping this platform to be taken away from us, because the government does not cherish that at all. Is the rule. So thank you so much for that. And so before we continue, we would like to always say a word of thank you to the creator of the universe. So in whatever way you can, let us do it. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the power of words to heal, to teach, and to bring peace and justice. Because you said in your word and you taught us that we should speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves. That we should speak up and judge rightly. That we should speak up for the destitute, for the oppressed, for the hungry, for the illiterate, for the poor. We must speak up and speak up with humility, with truth and justice. Bless our children, women, and young people to learn the language of truth, to speak of equity with fairness, to understand privilege with humility, to recognize systemic bias with courage, and to practice allyship. Allyship means good friendship with love, and to know that you created us with truth and with justice, that we must extend that to the rest of the world. Let every word we speak build bridges of peace and understanding. Guide one global movement. All of us here, the volunteers, the servants here, to use its voice to educate, to empower, and to uplift. May the next generation rise to speak, to rise to speak, to use its voice to educate, to empower, and to uplift, and to the next generation to rise to speak not from anger, not from frustration, but from divine compassion. That kind of frustration that says there's a better way to say things. There's a better way to do things. That the pen is mightier than the sword. That the pen is mightier than the gun. That there's always a better way. And we need to look inwards and to look within us and our parents to help to say that this kind of justice, to use our words, comes first from the home before moving out into the community or the schools. We thank you, Father, until justice rules like a river and every voice is heard like a thunderclap. We are here to help this generation, our young ones, to speak with justice. Thank you, Father, for answered prayers.
Amen.
Amen.
Very powerful, sister.
Yes,
You know, the Bible speaks about righteous anger, and that is what we're speaking about here, right?
yes.
Righteous anger. It says to be angry and sin not. Don't go frustrating and calling. As a matter of fact, it says we're not fighting against one another. It's principalities and evil, whatever it is, you know. It's not that we're fighting down one another. It's just that we see the injustice and we
Yes.
have to speak up and do something about it. So absolutely, thank you. And as usual, we want to say why we're here and how powerful our mission is as well. So this is the vision and mission statement of One Global Movement, and we sometimes shorten it to OGM. One Global Movement will support any organization, any group, or individual that aligns with its global vision and mission, which is as follows. The mission of One Global Movement is to empower young people, children, and women worldwide with a focus on young women, providing them with the tools and the sustainable solutions that will help them eradicate hunger, illiteracy, and poverty, to build generational wealth while living a life of leadership and purpose. We believe that every child deserves access to nutritious food, quality education, and opportunities to thrive. So, through global collaborative efforts, innovative programs, and community engagement programs, we strive to break the cycle of hunger, illiteracy, poverty, and to build a future where every child can build on their hopes and dreams while reaching their full potential. Together, through divine intervention, love, and clean, safe, and valuable technology, we can create a world where no child goes to bed hungry, no child is denied an education, and no child is limited to poverty or to any other condition that is not of their own making. It is possible. Our gratitude and thanksgiving goes to our divine creator, who is our ultimate provider and who has promised to supply us abundantly, not just for ourselves, but to do good works by helping uplift and care for all of humanity.
Yes.
We thank everyone who supports OGM, and we wish us all success in our various business and world-changing endeavors. And that is our vision and mission here for everyone, one global move.
Thank you.
And now we have another exciting topic.
Yes, always exciting.
Always. No, I say that. So it's the language of justice, and how, because the other day we spoke about injustice. So now we're talking about the language of justice and how to give the next generation the words to speak up. So describe the language, first of all. So
Let me say one thing, sister, cut it short. It's so beautiful the way that these topics come, the way that you coin them.
Yeah.
Now, because it is said in life that if you do not recognize that you have a problem, you
can't
will not be able to get treatment for it.
Exactly.
You go to the doctor, you don't tell the doctor what is happening. Can the doctor even be able to diagnose you and give you treatment? No. Now you talk about, we recognize the fact that there's a lot of injustice, and we talk about that. And now we're trying to see what justice, or what can we do to bring solutions to this kind of situation. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sister. There's a saying that says what gets measured gets managed. If you don't know what is wrong, what are you going to do about it? You just be fluttering around. But when you know, you're targeted, you're focused, right? So the key points and the content, of course, as usual, I divided up. So this is 5 parts, but they're not long. They're just for framing, right? So the introduction, the power of our words, as you said. So what are the stakes? The stakes are high. The next generation is inheriting complex social and global challenges. They need to speak up, but how they speak is as important as what they say. I'm not a fan of loud. Some of the things people are calling advocacy, it's not. It's just quarreling and nobody's listening. They're speaking over each other. That's not the idea. You want to get something done. So our premise, justice is not just about a goal. It's about the process. True, lasting justice requires collaboration, and respectful dialogue, not in-your-face divisiveness. This is what some people are calling advocacy. It is not, because you want to get to a goal together. The goal to equip them, the children, the young people, with a language of justice, a vocabulary, a framework for respectful, constructive advocacy. And so in section 2, we're talking about beyond right and wrong, a deeper vocabulary for justice. So expanding this definition, the traditional legal concept of justice, which is punishment and retribution, is too narrow. The next generation needs words to articulate a broader vision. The core words for constructive justice then is equity versus equality. This is an example. Equality is giving everyone the same pair of shoes, for instance. But equity is giving someone a pair of shoes that fits them, their culture, their whatever their needs are. It acknowledges different starting points. As we've said many times on this platform, the global north, as they're calling it, and the global south are coming from different starting points. They're not starting equally, are they? Right? This word moves the conversation beyond sameness to fairness of outcome. It's outcome we're looking for. Accountability versus punishment. Accountability focuses on repair, learning, and systemic change. It asks, what will restore the harm and prevent it from happening again? We want sustainability rather than just how do we punish the wrongdoer? Because there's a lot of punishment to go around. That's true. But we don't have time for that right now. We want sustainable changes.
Yes.
And number 3 is belonging versus tolerance. Belonging is the ultimate goal. These are the words we're talking about. Belonging is the ultimate goal of social justice. Tolerance simply means putting up with differences. That is not what we're looking for. Belonging means creating a space where everyone feels inherently valued and their diverse perspectives are vital. And number 3, the foundation of the dialogue, words of respect and collaboration. And here's why dialogue matters. Divisive language polarizes and shuts down listeners. You can't speak, you can't hear. I remember I watched a movie a while back with Sean Penn and Nicole Kidman. It was called The Interpreter. It was in Africa, and they were talking about an African proverb that says, if you want to be heard, whisper.
Hmm.
Take it down. Take down the rhetoric. Take down the yelling and screaming. It doesn't serve anybody. Collaborative language invites engagement and change. The respectful toolkit then is I statements, teaches them to own their feelings. We're talking about the population, we're talking about the young people. Feelings, own their feelings and perspective without attacking the other person. Example, instead of you are being ignorant about this issue, which I've heard, try, I feel frustrated when I hear that because my experience has taught me differently. That is how you say that, right? You're not aiming to heat up the conversation. You're trying to make people hear what each other is saying. And then the power of the question. Questions are very important. They call me the questionator.
That's good. Be nosy, okay? Be nosy.
Well, and I want to know. I don't
Yes,
want people's
of
business.
course.
I don't care about people's private business. I mean, why are you feeling like that? And why do you think that, you know? So that's my kind of question, uplifting. The person asking a sincere question holds the power to open the conversation. Why do you think like that? Replace accusations with curiosity. Example, instead of your policy is clearly unfair, ask, can you walk me through the underlying principle that guided this policy's design? Can you tell me why you designed it like that? Or help me understand how this addresses the needs of whatever group, mental health, people with disabilities. How does this address that need, right? Because sometimes we put places and policies in place without consulting the people who are concerned. This is why I support some of the non-profit that like Acumen I'm always telling you about. They never just throw money at something or tell you what you should do. They always go on the ground and they see what's happening in the community before collaboration. That's what I'm talking about, right? The language of shared values. Find a shared commitment that is deeper than the disagreement. This is critical for collaboration. Example, two people disagree sharply on climate policy, for instance. They can reframe the conversation around a shared value. They say, we both care deeply about the future, the health of our planet, and economic stability for our communities. So let's explore solutions that achieve both. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Then in section 4, action and application. Speaking up for systemic change, moving from problem to policy. How does the language of justice drive real change? The systemic lens, which is adding institutional and systemic, we use those words, teach them to identify the system, because the systems are the problem sometimes, as obstacle, not just the individuals. Don't go after people individually. Example, instead of calling a person a racist, call a policy institutionally biased. The words we use, or systemically unfair. We know there are plenty of those, right? This refocuses energy from personal attacks to policy change.
Yes.
The restorative example, restorative justice is a model for dialogue, right? When harm occurs, the language centers on who has been harmed, what are their needs, whose obligation is it to meet those needs. It shifts from what the law was broken to what relationship needs repairing. It's all relationship, right? The call to courage. This kind of respectful dialogue is often harder than angry confrontation. Of course it is, because you have to put your ego aside. It requires courage and patience and humility. But it's what we're looking for, because we're looking for long-term and sustainable change, right? And in section 5, where I'm finishing up, conclusion, your voice, your legacy. A recap, the language of justice then is a toolkit of words like equity, accountability, belonging, used within a framework of respect and collaboration. And the final charge is the next generation is capable of being the change they want to see. They are. Lots of brilliant, engaged young people, not just in their causes, but in their conduct. Give them the words and they will build a more just world together. So my call to action is our words and our actions. We've explored the essential vocabulary, equity, accountability, belonging, and the collaborative mood that will empower the next generation. But before they can speak the language of justice, they must first hear it from us, of course. As always, we go back to us.
Yes.
The greatest lesson we can give them is not a textbook. It's in our own conduct, our behavior. Every conversation we enter, every disagreement we navigate, and every public comment we make is a live demonstration. If we want the next generation to speak up with courage and respect, we must model that behavior right now. If we want them to build bridges instead of walls, we must show them how to lay the first stone. So let us commit, starting today, to use our voices not just to demand justice, but to embody it through collaboration, dialogue, and deep respect for one another. Our words today are their permission slips. That's the permission we're giving them for the future. Let's make them count. So thank you for listening. That's me.
Let's make them count. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Let's pass the baton over to my beautiful sister, Melanie.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Thank you, sisters. Sister Yvonne, that's a very good topic.
Very
I
good.
love that.
Love it.
Thank you.
I was smiling at a certain time, maybe even laughing inside because
I was
you talk
seeing you and say, she's lovely.
She's ready to go. She's
She
ready
was
to
just-
go.
yeah, you talk about ignorance. I think when I first came here to this country, I didn't know how to adapt.
Yeah.
So anytime I was being approached a certain way, I'm the same. You go this way, I go that way, right? But I'm learning more and more to shave down my attitude, shave down my ways. I'm chipping away.
Yes,
know,
yes.
Human,
yes.
right? So
Of
yeah,
course, we're
sometimes
learning.
yeah. Okay, so we as adults, we are always mirrors for our children because we were there before them. We didn't bring them into the world. We gave birth to them to come here, right? To be here. So we
Yes.
are the mirrors, right? And what we use as words, it can reflect in that child because they're mimicking our attitudes. They are mimicking, our gestures. Sometimes, we have those looks when we are talking, ready to fight. The way we treat others, the way we respond, that in itself can be injustice, and our children can have that infused in them. And they can be the same because sometimes we used to mimic our parents, because back in the Caribbean, like you can't speak. It's like a shout, a yell. So we had the same kind of attitude until I came here. I'm learning more and more to shave, shave. And I have the blank look, like unless I get the answer that is right, I won't step down. I'm different. I'm going to be different, or I'm training to be different. Okay, so as far as justice, our role as adults, we have to guide our children. As Sister Yvonne, you said it right. We have to guide them to what is right, and stand up for themselves. We cannot be doormats to anybody, and that part is not ignorance at all. If somebody has spoken down to you, first of all, I always tell people, let's talk as human. I use that phrase a lot. Eye level, we are the same people, right?
Correct.
So let us talk, let's sit down and talk. And that helps. It can help to go a long way,
Yes.
Yeah. Because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna stoop for anyone. I will have respect, but you have to respect me. It's two ways. And
It's mutual. Yes.
yeah. And when our children pick that up, I know my son is learning a lot of my habits. Sometimes it can be bad ones, but I apologize. I like to apologize.
Yes.
Yeah, I love to apologize after I know I did wrong because it doesn't sit well with me. So I will go back and say, that's not what I meant to say, but honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when we use ourselves as the mirrors in our children's life or other children's life, because we are parents to many, we are village, we are global force, right? When we use ourselves as examples, as mirrors, these kids can take that reflection, and that reflection goes through them and it carries them a long way in life, good or bad. So we want to outweigh the bad and place in us what is good, like treat others right. They said, what you give back, what you give out, you get back.
Right.
So we want to get back good stuff. And more, I'm looking at other people before me, the legacy that they leave. in this life, I want to mimic them good things. And I
Yes.
always said, we live in this world, we live in Mother's Nature's land, and we have the universe. They say what we feed it is what we get back. So we
Yes.
need to tell our children it's good to stand up. It's good to talk, but just listen first. Don't talk over. And I hate that, Sister
I know.
Yvonne, when you said
I
speaking
know.
over each other. This is just a riot, and it's like a turn off. It's a pet peeve for me. When you're going to say something, somebody's coming in on the other side, and it doesn't end well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yes, stay
Mm-hmm.
quiet because silence is golden.
It is.
Then when they see that you're quiet, they call on you, and then you speak your turn. And then make sure in the meantime you're waiting in silence. You're in your mind, you're thinking of what's the best way to approach that,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah,
Yeah.
you will know when people applaud what you said, you know that you said it right. When people turn their eyes or roll their eyes, you know that, oh gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes. So these things, these are the language of justice we can pass on to our children and to our children worldwide, because they're all our children. And they're
Absolutely.
gonna learn. They're gonna grow from that, you know?
Yep. Yep.
So
Wow.
They're, they're,
Powerful
they're,
contribution.
yeah,
thank you.
it's so true. She's right. They're passionately
Thank you.
engaged already, and they want to do something, but
Yes,
they want to do it the correct way because we're now looking for sustainable change, right? This back
right.
and forth is, it's not working. We need when something is put in place, the two people or the three people or the 100 people, whatever, really settle on a solution, and they're all engaged and it works. Nobody needs to be browbeaten down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything everything doesn't have to be a law.
I
It
know.
just has to be collaboration and people agree because that is not how it was before, right, Sister Mundi?
Oh, yes. It's
People,
never
people
been
used
that
to just
way.
talk
The
about
law,
something and get it
the
settled.
law is calm. The law is not law. The law the laws of the scriptures, those are the natural laws. Those
Exactly.
the ones that come first.
Yeah.
Because it must not be about law. The law
No.
say whose law? Whose law?
Exactly.
The natural law is what we are talking about here, because and 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 that should be. And that's
It
why
should
we're
be.
trying to pass this across everyone. Don't
Absolutely.
depend on what that law there. But what about this law that you were created with? Very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
important. So thank you,
Exactly.
ladies. You guys are so powerful. Silence is golden. I'll begin with that.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Silence is
Yes.
golden, you know.
Yes.
But
Yes.
sometimes, and that kind of silence doesn't mean that you have to keep quiet in every situation.
Nope.
Yes, you speak up when you know that what you're going to speak up, it's a good thing. Don't just speak up because you want to fill the air with noise, or so people are seeking for attention. We don't want that. And when Sister Yvonne also says that if we ask our children to build, we the parents must be the first to lay that first foundational stone.
Absolutely.
And it
Absolutely.
is true because the scripture says that. I follow the
Yes.
scripture a lot because that's the first book that I grew up reading, that
Yeah.
I was taught to read. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's so important if we can just say, you know what? How about the greatness that I was created with? How about that? Why can't I leverage on that to do the
Yeah.
best? You will realize that our life will change enormously. You'll be
It will.
so happy that you're thinking naturally. You're going back to nature, you're going back to your roots. Going back to nature is going back to your roots. How were you
Absolutely.
raised? Maybe even if your parents were not there, maybe because of one reason or the other, but how, where you come from, how is your environment? Because like we say from the beginning, those things were there. They were there. And it's like it takes a village to raise, love, and educate a child, because
Yes.
you cannot mess around here and you try to run to the other home. Like me, they'll say, why are you here at this time? Did you fetch
Mm-hmm.
did you fetch for firewood? Did you fetch for water? Did you go to welcome your mom from the farm? Or did you do this? Did you do what your dad asked you to do? Then you
Yeah.
have nowhere to go if you have that kind of behavior. If you want
Yeah.
out a lot, no, you have no place. And so one global movement is here asking that we go back to that. Because what makes us to deviate from those natural norms of creation is because we are so embedded in comparison, in greed, in ego, in dishonesty, in power, in trying to grab money where we did not plant, trying to gather seeds of prosperity where we did not plant, lying to people, and all of those things. Those are the things that weigh us down, and we do not think about tomorrow. And so when we focus on how vocabulary empowers, teaching terms like equity, privilege, systemic bias, and allyship is very, very important. Injustice begins where silence takes root.
Yes.
Okay, but justice begins where language awakens. Good language of love, language of letting you know that, like Sister Melanie said, we are equal. Let's stand on the same basis, because you might know this thing. Know that I also know this thing that you don't know better. But when we bring this thing together and making sure that we help everyone's voice, everyone's presence to count, instead of saying I know better than you because I have this, and you don't have this. No, this is what is ruining the world today. So today, like any other day, we don't just gather, we gather not only to speak about justice, but to give language to that justice. We're giving language here. That's what we are doing. And calm down and think. Think your roots, think your creation, think your purpose, think where you come from, think who created you. Think about when you get up in the morning, the sunshine is bursting through your window. Who made that sunshine? Think about when the sun sets. Think about when the chicken go to roost. Think about all those things. When you start thinking, think about the tree or the flowers that you just see them blossoming. And now you think about, you know that when you think about this thing, you begin to give that language of justice to those things, and that is exactly how you give it to humans. This is very, very important for how can the next generation challenge what they understand? How can they challenge that? What can they use? How can they stand tall if their voices have not yet learned the words that give power to truth? How can they stand tall if they've not yet learned it? And how do they learn it? From you and I, not from the classroom. It begins from home. We started here, and they take it to the class, so that when the teacher says something, they sit still and they appreciate the teacher. They say, Mr., Mrs., Mademoiselle, Monsieur. They say those good things and say, yes, sir. Instead of teaching them that the gun is mightier than the sword, we teach them that the pen is mightier than the sword, so that it brings this language of peace and love in the classroom, but it begins from home. Very, very important. So how can they just stand tall in all of this? So the language of justice is more than vocabulary. It's just more than like we say here. It's more than just altering words. Sometimes we say it's the whispers, because if you want to resolve a situation, it's not to scream, to shout. It's to say, listen. Like, I grew up, my grandmother, my mother, they want to say something, they will whisper. We have a cultural language. And when they whisper, you feel it. You feel so important, because that means you don't want what you're going to say for others to hear, because you must have that privacy, right? So, and the language of justice is more than vocal. It is the heartbeat of change. When you begin to whisper in that language, think about the language of some of the good leaders of the world, like your son. They don't just talk. They take, like, silent action. That is what works. That is what it is. The grammar of courage, the syntax of equity, and the poetry of hope. There is a poetry of hope, and we all have that poetry of hope that we can write, and that's what we are doing here. And so the power of words. What is that like? Word shapes worlds. Words shape worlds. And I thank God because I'm so happy every time when I think about that I'm coming here. I'm so excited and happy because I know that I'm going to be with my sisters here, with the audience that are speaking that kind of language.
Yeah.
Speaking that kind of language. So words shape our worlds. It be your world of your family, the world of your friends, the world of your classroom, the world of your business, the world of your job, the world of stretching a hand across the Atlantic Ocean to say, I am going to do something, even if I cannot fly to come there. That is the kind of the world that we are shaping. So history has proven this, and we all know that. Even if we forget, history has proven this, that every movement for freedom began not with a sword, not with a machete, not with a gun, but with a speech. And that speech starts with one word or two. Yes, we can. Like President Barack Obama said, yes, we can. Like my grandmother said in the language, in our dialect, that Afriga, that means it's possible. It's possible. So the civil rights movement was fueled by the words freedom, equity, dignity, and dreams. We know that. When we teach a child, a young person, the right word, we've gifted them a voice that can move nations. I'm so happy when I'm researching, I see the Gen Z that are changing the world now. You should go do research what is happening, and you begin to question yourself, am I doing enough?
Yes.
The way that they're doing in such a way that I tend to learn from them before I even come here to talk.
They're on fire. They really are.
Positive fire. So through one global movement, OGM, we believe that vocabulary is not just for classrooms. No, it's not. It's for our consciousness, our collective consciousness. Our mission is to empower every child, every woman, and every young person with the language to name justice and narrate hope. And justice also means saying thank you. Did you say thank you to that person that just opened the door to you? If you didn't, that's injustice. But if you say thank you, that is simple justice. Justice is not something that you're going to read from over there. You start right here. Did you say thank you to my beautiful sister? Did you clap for them? Did you put those hashtags here? Those are the words of justice. Those are the words that promote. It's not rocket science that you have to go and read it or somebody has to preach to you. Take it from when your parents raised you. And so understanding the words that build awareness is very, very important. Let's break down 4 key terms that every young person or every young advocate or Gen Z must know. Words that become tools in their toolbox for truth. Okay? Equity. We talk about equity here a lot. And this is something that we're going to talk for the rest of our life. Equity means fairness. That meets people where they are.
Yes.
Meet somebody where they are, not where we wish them to be.
Exactly.
And don't like some of us parents to make that mistake. Why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be sister? No. When you do that, you sap their spirit. Now they start looking low on themselves. And you wonder why children are having low self-esteem, because we contributed to that. All right? Trying my best not to. That's why now I stop and think a lot of time before I say something. I type, I text my son, I read it very well.
Oh, yes.
What can I put there that is going to uplift them? When you do that, those kids, you uplift their spirit, the words that come out of their mouth, their eyes. Oh my God. And so I've learned that, because when they do it to you too, you will be happy, right?
Yes.
So equity gives everyone the same, like our sisters say, Melanie says, the same, we are on the same level. Let's speak face to face that we are equals. The same equity gives everyone what they need to thrive. If you're asking your child, go build, go create, did you lay that foundational stone? That first one, because we have to lay it. If you don't lay it, don't expect somebody else to lay it. Because he who feeds you, guess what, controls you. And we don't want our children to go that route. So we need to lay it that you were born for greatness. This is a great stone, and this stone will be here for generations to come. and they will keep adding onto that stone and adding onto that stone. So equity is not a favor. It is justice in motion. All right. So when we provide the same education to all, but ignore the barriers faced by children in poverty, we practice equity but deny. We practice equality but deny equity.
Yep.
That is very important. Teaching
Very.
equity helps young people to recognize that fairness requires understanding differences. Don't say you're better than another person because I come from Cameroon. No, you're not. Or because I come from Canada, or from the islands, or from wherever. No, you're not. You're not. Because we all were created in the same image. And then the second word is privilege. Privilege is not guilt. Okay, it is awareness. It is awareness. It means recognizing advantage that others may not have and using them responsibly. Using them responsibly. Because you don't have everything. I don't have everything. But when we understand that, then we know how to utilize it instead of using it against others. A young person who learns to identify privilege learns to use it as a platform, like the Gen Zs are using. You use it as a platform, not a pedestal to keep distance from other people, to say, oh no, I can't be with these people. I can't associate with these people. No, we don't want that. Who told you that you're better than another person? No. A baby does not just come out or grow out to hate people unless it is being taught in the home. A child, you see a toddler or another baby sees another baby, immediately they're smiling. They're going like this. They're playing a hide and seek or things, because that's the way they were wired. They were born with that. But until we start bringing that dirt into their system, before you see children acting and treating other children differently. There is this picture that I've kept in my archive for as long as it's going to be there, and I'll keep it in my library. This black child and this white child, they meet at the playground. Guess what? They just go hug. Imagine
it.
that. Beautiful, so beautiful. And what does that tell us? That we shouldn't try to divide children, because they're always going to unite regardless.
Yes.
All right. Privilege becomes the purpose when we use it to uplift others. So we talk number 3, systemic bias. We know that. And that starts from the home. Systemic bias. This is the hidden architecture of inequality. It is hidden. The rules, the habits, and traditions that keep some people down and others ahead. And are you sure, is that even keeping someone down or ahead? Because remember, when you push somebody, push a child, push a teenager to the wall, when they get to the wall and there is nowhere else to go, what do? They have to look for a way. They have to look for a way. And that way means looking for something that can get them out of that situation, right? And if you think that you are ahead, and you are ahead because of systemic bias, guess what? You're going to plunge down, because that's the rule of nature. So it is so important that we do that. It's not always visible, but it's always impactful. It can impact negatively. It can impact positively. We need to know that. And so teaching systemic bias helps the next generation see that injustice isn't always a person. It's often a pattern. It's a pattern. It's not always a person. And these patterns are being taught by us. It starts from the home, and we need to get rid of those. So when young minds learn to read systems, they learn to rewrite history, like what they are doing across the globe now. The Gen Zs are rewriting history like never before seen. Okay? And so encourage our students, encourage our kids, encourage the Gen Z to question who makes the rules, who benefits from them, who is left out, and why, and what can I do better in my capacity if I was raised up, whether in truth or falsely? What can I do to also help to raise the other person up together with me instead of just sticking to what I have been raised to believe? So that is so important. Then number 4, allyship. Allyship is the practice of standing beside, not above. All right? Not above. It means using your voice to echo those who have been silenced, to stand up for those who have been silent, but positively, not shouting, not yelling. Sometimes when a child is being bullied in school, another child can just go and stand and stand firm. So let that child know that I am here even though I'm not speaking. I see it, I know it, I understand it. Just that standing there firmly with a very good face, a face that says, I understand. Sometimes it will send away the bully. All right. So don't just see a child being bullied or a child being beaten and you walk away, or maybe you join in. So that is very, very important. It's not it's not like an identity. It's a lifelong action. You don't do it today and forget to do it tomorrow. So true allyship listens louder than it speaks. Listen and know what to do. Don't just speak because you want people to know that, oh, I talk. Sometimes my grandmother taught me to ignore a lot of things, but sometimes people they'll tease me. They say she thinks she's better than other people. Look, she's snobbing people. No, you just like quietly, not like snobbing, but with that truth that they can read on your face to know that, you know what, I have the language, and my language right at this moment is language of silence, so that I don't escalate situations. So language creates awareness. Awareness creates empathy. Empathy creates action. So when a child can name inequality, they can question it. When a student can explain systemic bias, they can challenge it in a very positive way. When a young woman can define allyship, she can demand it so that she can grow and also help our children go. What are the wings that lift silence into movement? That's what it is. They are the wings. When you say, yes, I can. Yes, we can. Yes, together we can do this. That is the wings that will lift silence into a movement. Very, very important. And so education and empowerment is what we are doing here, so that when you empower every child, they will use it to make a positive change, beginning with that one word. Yes. Yes is enough to spark a change. And it depends on what you're saying yes to. Or no is enough to also spark change, depending on what you're saying no to. No, this is not okay. No, we can do it better. No, I have what it takes. Yes, we can. So that is very important. So thank you guys so much for listening to me.
No, you basically we kept my talk, right, sister? But that's okay. That's how it's supposed to happen, right?
Right.
Because we want to stress this, the outcome of what this is, the language of justice, giving the next generation the words to speak up. And ultimately, what we wanted to do is to have a sense of belonging, right?
Yes.
We want, just like Sister Melanie said, eye to eye. Even though some places are starting, as I'm always reminding, that we've divided up the world, we call it all kinds of names, developing world, blah, blah, blah. Now they're calling it global south, global north. So we're not all starting at the same point. And that's why we need equity.
Yes.
The story I used about giving everybody the same pair of shoes, doesn't make any sense, because it's not going to fit. You have to find out what it is the person's size is, where they're going to walk with those shoes, for instance, right?
Yes.
So that is important. So belonging versus tolerance. And lots of people think tolerance is okay. They think, we accept those people, but they're only saying it lip service.
Yep.
The person doesn't feel belong like they belong in workplace, in schools, in churches.
Yes.
They put up with you. Those are another term that they use. And they think people can't feel and see that. Don't
we are born to feel it. We are born to feel it. You're born to feel happiness, to feel shame, to feel exclusion and inclusion. We are born to feel those things.
Yes. So belonging is the ultimate goal of social justice. It is the ultimate goal. right? Tolerance simply means putting up with differences, and they can try to avoid you if they can't, and they don't invite you to start. You're not included, right? You might be going there, but you're not included, right? So belonging means creating a space where everyone feels inherently valued, and their diverse perspectives are vital. Because this world is diverse. We were never meant to be carbon copies of one another. That's not the way it works. But when you're interested in the person and you want to sit down and you ask those questions and you have that dialogue, it's just so refreshing. It's sustainable when the person understands this is what somebody does there. I'm laughing because we're talking about speaking over one another. And I also remember, I think it's an African thing, where they pass the stick. And
the baton.
The baton. You can't speak unless it's your turn.
Yes. Even the drum, they tell you can't. The drum will tell you what to do.
I love those customs. I just love them.
And then the thing, here's one thing that is so good to know. The baton is a natural stick. It's a healing stick. It's a stick that heals your words. And so the person, when you touch it, something happens, magical, that you don't even know, but it happens. You're not going to be speaking out of your own time. No. Or you're not going to overspeak or say something that is not good. So it does something magical because that is the power of nature. Those sticks are there for a reason. Everything. I'm telling you.
It's like the universe, right? God, he doesn't like chaos. No. I mean, if anything was to go just a little bit off, we would all be just gone flying off into where God knows. He has the gravity, right? He has order. The sun comes up, the moon comes up, everything, the cycles. So that is how we should live, not because of a law, but because it works. It includes everybody, right? It says the sun rises and sets on the bad and the good. That's what it says in the Bible. Nobody's excluded. So why can't we live like that, right?
Yep. And we are we are living like that. We are doing it every day now.
Yep, we are. We are creating that space.
Yes.
Amen.
I think they should have the baton in school or the baton in the government.
Yes.
It's like the symbol is wait your turn. The baton is yours. Wait your turn.
Sisters, when we have the opportunity to meet, we're going to make it in practice. I'll bring the baton because I have it, okay? I have it. I'll bring the baton. They send it from home.
Yeah.
Okay? So that when we are wherever we are, if I visit Canada, because I can't visit Canada without you guys arranging like a school that we're going to go there and do something, That we'll be there with the baton, and then
Yes.
You just say you'll be so happy. So it's a beautiful thing. And I will not have time to read the comment because I need to go help my mom sign the papers for her new place, please.
Okay, you guys tell them how you feel then. Tell them you're grateful for their company.
So I just ask that all of us here. So from today, I ask that we all ask to take these words, equity, privilege, systemic bias, and allyship, and turn them into living lessons every day with our children, our families. Let us teach ourselves, especially our children, let us teach these words in our homes, not something that we just want to air out outside. No, right here, let us teach them in our homes and we practice them with them. Let us speak this word in our classroom, from the home to the classrooms, and let us write them in our libraries, home libraries. And now we have the opportunity to own two kinds of library, virtual and physical libraries. So because every time we help a child find the right word, we build a bridge towards a just world. So the language of justice begins with one word only, one voice only, one act of courage, and therefore one global movement. So, sister, if anybody has anything said, or you just give us a closing remark.
I close. That was my closing remark.
Okay.
So I just have a quick analogy for the justice thing. So I take a coal pit where we suffocate, And I take a volcano where it opens, it erupts, and it lets out the steam. So an analogy for the children, we don't suffocate them, but we let them erupt with their words, their thoughts, and their actions.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's that's words of wisdom right there. Right there.
Right.
So thank you so much. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
Excuse
everybody.
me.
Thank
Again
you.
on Friday. We love you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye, Simon. Take
Bye,
care.
sister. Bye.
Bye.